Rosewood Cottage by Dan Boylan. The Americans were waiting by the front door as the young estate agent hurried up the path. "I'm sorry I'm late," he mumbled nervously and added, "My last viewing overran." The woman smiled forgivingly. He fumbled with the keys and eventually the lock yielded and he opened the door with a creak and bid them enter. "Rosewood Cottage," he announced without formality. They ducked under the low doorway and stepped into the hall. Built in the late 1780s with various alterations and extensions at later dates, he read from the printout. They proceeded through the hall and into the front room where the lady gasped audibly. "Oh my word, ain't this just wonderful, honey? Oh, look at those rough-hewn beams on the ingle-nook fireplace. Oh, I say, this is something out of Jane Austen." And she tailed off, and the estate agent glanced at the expression of her dour-faced partner and knew this was going to be another difficult sale. Large dining room with French windows leading to a pretty paved courtyard and well-stocked gardens. West facing to catch the evening sun, he read from his information sheet. They wandered through the rambling old cottage, ducking now and then to avoid the low beams and the door lintels, and Billy Joe gasped and cooed at every new discovery. She asked the young estate agent a series of frivolous and impractical questions which implied that she was not familiar with the British property market and that her interest was motivated by the cottage's quaintness rather than its practicalities. He contained his smirk and avoided the eye of her companion as they sauntered from room to room. "Ain't this just a dream, honey? Wouldn't you just like living here, having a rocking chair by that fireplace and strolling across the village square every evening to that lovely ivy-coloured pub? What's it called?" "Oh, the Jolly Sailor, madam." "Oh, ain't that just cute? The Jolly Sailor." "The cottage is kind of small, Billy Joe," her partner said with a grimace. "There's only 2 downstairs rooms, only one John, no shower. The garden is kind of tiny and, oh, but it's so cute and lovable, on the edge of that lovely square, like something from a bygone age. It has a wealth of charm and character, and it's, oh, so historic. It's not all that practical, BJ. There are all kinds of drawbacks and stuff that we should be given consideration to. Let's not rush into something that we might later regret, hey? Let's sleep on it for a couple of days, chew things over, look at it from all the angles. Let's be practical and realistic. We don't want to get out of our depth here," Brad replied with growing objection. She cut him off with a look that might have sent shivers down the spine of a lesser man and said through gritted teeth, "I like this cottage and I like England, Brad. We need to get away from Philly, a long way from Philly, and the job offer was too good will be good for your career." Then she lowered her voice. "I'm prepared to overlook the Denver weekend stuff, but I want a fresh start from us away with any more." And she practically paused momentarily. "Let's say distractions or diversions. The Atlantic is big enough to keep any further temptations at arm's length. Savvy?" The agent peered over the top of his folder and saw the fear in the man's eye. "Geez," he thought, "what happened in Denver?" The agent edged towards the stairhead and said without ceremony, "I'll have to make a call to the office. I'll be in the sitting room. Feel free to wander around." He descended the creaking stairs and stood silently at the bottom, turned and cocked an ear, and eavesdropped. He caught only snatches of their conversation. "It was only a bit of fun, honey. Just one night after a lot of drink. I've said I'm sorry, and it won't ever happen again," he pleaded. "It was more than a bit of fun, or a moment of weakness. I have a copy of your mobile phone and your credit card bills. They tell a very different story, Bradley," she hissed. "But honey, please, it was something and nothing. It was meaningless, Howell, and it will never happen again." The agent heard him pleading in his voice. Then she raised her voice. "It will not happen again because we shall be living here, and I shall always be on hand and looking over your shoulder. We will move here, and you will take up the job offer, and before the end of the summer, or I'll see Charles Collins, the lawyer, about a separation. It's that simple, Brad. I'm not prepared to budge on this. Make up your mind now." The estate agent grinned from ear to ear. She had him in a corner, and the guy was running out of options. The agent could see a sale coming before the end of the day, and he would dig his heels in for the asking price. Then he heard Brad's voice. I don't like this prissy Victorian England idea you have. You're not being practical at all, BJ. You haven't thought this through. You just want to punish me for Denver. I don't want to live here. I want to be stateside. I don't want to go to some stuffy English pub and drink warm English beer. I want to... She put up her hand. It's after 9 a.m. in Philly, she interrupted. I can call Charles and have him draw up a separation order now. He'll freeze your bank account and the money you inherited from Uncle Joe. Then you can go back to Denver, have all the fun you want, but I'll have enough evidence against you to bring divorce proceedings, which puts all the blame for the matrimonial breakdown firmly on your shoulders. We will split everything, the apartment, the finances, and your pension rights. It'll be 50-50, everything right down the middle, and you can go back to Denver with Miss Lush, and I will move here to Britain. You choose, she told him with an air of determination. The agent held his breath and strained an ear, but a brittle silence hung in the upstairs air as if they were contemplating their respective positions. Would he cave in, or would he hold his corner? Did she mean all she had said, or was it all a hollow threat? The prospect of a sale hung precariously in the balance. He glanced at his watch, flicked an imaginary hair from his jacket, and stared absently through the French windows. The clock on the sitting room mantelshelf ticked away with a tedious monotony, and a tock, tock, tock echoes through the lower rooms, and some 15 minutes dragged slowly by. Suddenly, someone upstairs cleared their throat, and then there were low voices and murmurings, then creaking floorboards and more subdued tones, then a door closing, followed by a creaking footsteps on the stairs. He strolled out of the sitting room to meet them. The woman wore a smug grin, and her husband was downcast and drop-shouldered. She was buoyant and confident, and she looked at the agent, smiled innocently, and announced, I think that we may be in a position to make an offer on the cottage. You'll have to guide us through the British real estate and legal process we're not familiar with. And then she stopped abruptly and said, I say, what a lovely tie. Oh, he replied, rather taken back. It's silk. My mother bought it for me in Bermuda. Oh, I love Bermuda, she gussed. We went there for a week last summer. And then she stopped mid-sentence, and the blood drained from her face as if she realized that she'd just made the most appalling mistake. Bermuda, Bradley exclaimed in a new interest. I didn't know that you'd ever been to Bermuda.